We're pretty excited about the Australian servers. The game's only launched in March, but it continues to grow, and we see the Australian population also growing. So we didn't want to rush into servers, wanted to make sure we chose a good provider. And of course, there's some technical back-end that we have to do as well. But we're excited that they're live this week. It's just another region selection that players can choose in Australia and New Zealand. And they will basically then be match-made with players in that region. And of course, they still have the option to play alternatively on North American servers or European servers as they wish, if they have friends in those areas. And also, behind the scenes, it's the same core login servers. So anything that was purchased or unlocked by Australian players, New Zealand players, all that transfers over. So even though Smite is not quite a shooter, latency does matter, I would say, even more than other tab-targeted MOBA games, because a lot of the core gameplay is, of course, around aiming or evading. So before the Australian servers, the ping was probably well over 150 for most players, and that's just not a great experience. People were dealing with it because they enjoyed the game, but it's going to be a much smoother, just more fun experience. So ping was definitely the primary motivation. From a community standpoint, there's benefits as well, but honestly, that was much more secondary than just cutting down the latency. In celebration of the launch of Australian servers and Rory and myself being here for PAX and meeting the community, we're pretty excited to have the Sydney Shredder skin. The god that it's for is Hubwa, or Hebo, if you want the more English enunciation. And he is god of the Yellow River, has a lot of water power, so we thought it would be pretty cool to have a surfer-inspired skin. Sydney Shredder is pretty buff. Looks like a lot of the people I've seen walking around Sydney so far. And he rides an alligator, and he surfs, and he's a badass. And the voices for the Sydney Shredder are based on Nick Cummings, somewhat derivative of his style, so the famous Australian rugby player.